Well, hello and welcome to our video on the 5 essential steps that you must take if you are behind on your mortgage. My name is John Watts. I'm a consumer protection attorney in Alabama. And what we're talking about is not rental property, but your main house, the house that you live in. If you are behind on your mortgage, then this video will be helpful to you. Now let's talk about what is the problem. Well, the problem is if ultimately we do not take steps to correct or reverse the issue of not making our mortgage payments, then we're going to be foreclosed. And what does foreclosure mean? That means that the bank, the mortgage company, is going to sell our property, and then normally they're the ones that buy it. And then once they buy it, they say to you, hey, get out of your house, because it's now our house. So that's the problem that you're facing. Sometimes you'll read things online, maybe watch videos online, and people talk about, oh, well, there's been all this fraud, which that's true, and there's been all this bad conduct by the mortgage companies, and that's true, but the conclusion is false. They say, so nobody can be foreclosed in Alabama. That is not true. So the problem is, if we don't take steps, then we are headed down a path that ultimately will lead to foreclosure. So, who am I? So, who's this guy talking to you? Because you may not know me. If you've seen other videos, then you may be familiar with me. But I'm going to assume you've never met me, never spoken with me, you don't know who I am. Well, again, my name is John Watts. I'm a consumer protection attorney in Alabama. Have two main offices, one in Birmingham and one in Madison or Huntsville, Alabama. But really, we represent people across the entire state. And I've been practicing since '95, represent consumers. And so we always have quite a few foreclosure type lawsuits where we're suing a mortgage company, or maybe a mortgage company has sued us for what's called ejectment, where that's to kick us out of the house. And then maybe we're counterclaiming against the mortgage company. And we're not going to go into a lot of details on that. We have an entire video about the 5 mistakes that people make when they're sued for an ejectment. But the point is that we are involved in a lot of lawsuits against mortgage companies. We train lawyers both locally in Alabama as well as across the nation in how to defend foreclosure type lawsuits, how to sue mortgage companies, whether that's using state law, federal law such as Fair Credit Reporting Act, Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, or RESPA, R-E-S-P-A. We're going to talk a lot about RESPA. And so that's my background. I do not represent mortgage companies. I do not represent banks. I sue the mortgage companies. I sue the banks. So let me give you this little disclaimer. So I'm not giving you legal advice because I don't know what your unique situation is. I want to just give you kind of general educational advice, an overview, if you will, so that if you're in this situation, you're saying, wow, I am 2 months, 3 months, 4 months behind on my mortgage. What in the world do I do? Maybe you're getting advertisements from these so-called loan modification companies from out of state. They say, tell you what, pay us $5,000, $10,000, and we will promise to get your loan modified. Let me just tell you this. 99%, maybe 100% of the time, those are scams. So the point is, once you get in this position of you're behind, maybe the mortgage company says, we're not going to take a partial payment, we want 4 months, and your mortgage payment is $2,000 a month, that's $8,000. Maybe you say, I don't have $8,000 to stroke a check for that. What do you do? Well, this video is to give you the big picture so that you go, okay, now I know some options. Now I know a course of action I can take. And then you can, if it involves sitting down with a lawyer, you can say, okay, now I have some idea. What questions do I ask? What am I looking for in a lawyer? So this is not legal advice. We're not representing that the quality of legal services, if you hire us, is better than the quality of legal services performed by other attorneys, and that's a required disclaimer from the Alabama State Bar. And so just keep in mind, the whole point of this is to give you knowledge. Now, is that it? Just knowledge? Because you know what they say is, knowledge is power. No, absolutely not. Knowledge is potential power. Knowledge plus action, that's where you get power. So you say, I'm in this really bad position. I'm getting all these mortgage statements and I'm behind and they're threatening foreclosure. What in the world do I do? Well, having more knowledge up here alone is not enough. You've got to get the knowledge, and then you've got to do stuff. You've got to do something. You've got to take action. You've got to get things moving, or nothing's going to happen. And I don't mean to be unkind, but I'll just say this. If you're watching this video and you say, I'm not willing to spend time, I'm not willing to spend money, I'm not willing to do anything, you might as well just shut this video off, because what I have to say to you will do you absolutely no good if you're unwilling to spend time, spend money, and take action. You have to be willing to do those things. Again, let me be blunt. If you're behind on your mortgage, you are in a bad position. Okay? That means obviously you're facing some financial difficulties. Maybe those are over, maybe you're in the middle of them. But you are facing foreclosure. And so you have got to do stuff. You've got to take action if you want to get out of this hole. All right, so let's talk about what is the overview. What will you be discovering today? Really, 5 steps, 5 key things that I want you to keep in mind. First, you have to figure out your current location. Where are you right now? I don't mean physically, but I mean, where are you in terms of your mortgage? Are you this far behind? Are you that far behind? Is there a foreclosure sale set? Did you get a default letter, acceleration letter? What's going on? That's the first step. Second step is you've got to request all loss mitigation options. And loss mitigation just means, hey, mortgage company, help me do anything to avoid a foreclosure. And we'll go over the details of that. So figure out where you are, all loss mitigation, and then you've got to be very quick in taking action. So your mortgage company says, you know what, I need this document, this tax form, this document, this other document. Don't go, well, you know, I'm kind of busy, kids have a little league game tonight, really want to get out of town. No, you're in a bad spot. And if you think you're not in a bad spot, then again, I don't think this video is going to help you. But if you recognize you're in a bad spot, then you need to take action now. So you get a FedEx package from the mortgage company. Don't say, yeah, you know, we'll get to that in a week or two. No, do it now. Fill it out now. Take immediate action. And then keep copies of everything that you submit. And then let's see here, that would be the 4th step, would be use notice of errors and request for information. So let's review. Figure out where you are, ask for all loss mitigation, take immediate action, keep copies of what you're doing, and then if appropriate, send what are called notice of error and request for information letters. And those are some really powerful tools that you now have under the new RESPA laws that went into effect January 2014. So the 5th step is be persistent. You have to keep on keeping on. So again, know where you are, all loss mitigation options, take immediate action, keep copies, use, if appropriate, notice of error, request for information letters, and then persistence. This, if I can say it this way, this game that the mortgage companies play with you, it's rigged. It's designed to discourage you so that you get something in the mail, you go, oh, they're asking for it again. This is, I give up. That's what they want you to do, is to give up. So if you say, you know, I'm going to take like a little bit of action, and the first difficulty, I'm just going to give up. Well, then I don't think you're going to be successful. But if you're willing to follow that 5th step, which is to have persistence, to take action, keep on taking action, then you can be successful in this. So let's look at our first one. Now, I have this written down, current location, because most of us use a GPS. And you may not be like me, but I am directionally challenged, we'll say. So I need a GPS. Well, so I pull out my phone and I say, all right, take me to this location. Well, what does my phone what does it have to do first? It has to figure out, where am I? You see, if I want to get to Atlanta, well, which direction do I go? Well, am I in Jackson, Mississippi? Am I in Savannah, Georgia? Am I in Chicago? Am I in Miami? See, it makes a difference. Where am I to figure out what do I need to do? Because you can't just say, well, to get to Atlanta, you drive east. It's not going to work if you're in Savannah. I think you end up splashing in the ocean if you do that. So you've got to know, where are you? So what does this mean in the context of foreclosure or being behind on your mortgage? How far behind are you? Write that down. How much, days? Are you 30 days late, 60 days, 90 days late? How much in terms of dollars are you behind? $5,000, $2,000, $1,000, $10,000? What is it? What kind of letters are you getting from the mortgage company? Have you received what's called a default letter that says, hey, you're in default, you have 30 days to fix it. Here's how you have to fix it. If you don't fix it, we're going to accelerate, or say all the loan is due. So you don't have 30 years, it's all due right now. Is that where you are? Or have you received that acceleration letter? Are they advertising in the paper? In Alabama, we advertise for 3 weeks, and it's just in your local newspaper, and there might be multiple newspapers it could be in. And that says, hey, we're going to foreclose on August the 10th at, the front steps of the courthouse during legal hours. Okay, are you there? Because that's really important to know, are you facing a foreclosure now, or are you just simply behind? So have you applied for loss mitigation options? All loss mitigation means is something to try to prevent or stop a foreclosure. It could be loan modification, short sale, forbearance, deferment, all these different things. Have you tried that? Are you in the middle of that? What's going on? So you've got to get a handle on, where are you right now? And then the second step is you want to tell the mortgage company. Now, again, I can't give you specific advice in your situation. I'm just telling you in general. You want to very strongly consider this. All loss mitigation options. That means you call the mortgage company. You say, look, I'm 1 month behind, 2 months behind, 5 months, whatever it is. I need help. I lost my job. I went through a divorce. I had a healthcare crisis, whatever it is. And I need help. I want to apply for all loss mitigation options. And sometimes I'll say, oh, well, what you mean is you only want to apply for the HAMP. It's HAMP. You go, no. I want all loss mitigation options. I go, oh, okay. So what you want is a loan modification. You go, well, yes, I want a loan modification, but I want all loss mitigation. See, loss mitigation's sort of the top level. And then down below that, we have things like short sale, deed in lieu of foreclosure, loan modification, deferment, forbearance, principal reduction, all these different things. You don't want to sort of pigeonhole yourself into, I only want a deed in lieu. Maybe that's the best answer for you. But don't you want to see all your options so that you can lay them on the table and kind of say, all right, I got this option, and ooh, wow, this one actually looks pretty good. So you want to know all your options. They'll give you a package, you fill it out, and that's really our next step is when you get this package, okay, it's usually come by FedEx. Sometimes they'll email it to you or say, go up to the website, download, whatever it is. You get this package, then you want to be very quick about filling it out. Okay? This is not the time to delay or go, well, it's such a pretty day outside and there's a new movie coming out. I'll get to this package later. Nope. Do it now. If saving your home Saving your house is important. Do it now. Okay? Be very quick about it. And then whatever it asks you for, give it to them. This is not the time to say, well, you know, they're asking me for 2 years of tax return. I think 1 year is appropriate. What do you care? Give it to them. And they say, well, you must tell me about all your monthly expenses. Well, they don't have the right to find out how much I'm paying for cable. You know what? If you're asking them for help, assume they have the right to ask you for this. Now, again, you may want to sit down with a lawyer. You may want to say, is this appropriate what they're asking me for right here? That's fine. But your sort of default, your normal approach ought to be, whatever they ask me for, I'm going to give it to them. And then keep a copy. Keep signed copies of whatever you send. So you mail off this big package to them. Maybe you put in a FedEx. They give you one. It's already postage is paid. That's fine. Keep a copy of what you're sending. Now, don't say, well, I know I got it in these 17 folders. No. Take all that, run it through a copy machine, go to FedEx, scan it, do both. It doesn't matter. Keep a copy of everything that you've sent, because your whole, the whole idea of can you save your house may come down to a lawsuit. And that lawsuit may turn on, did you give them this document that they wanted? They say you didn't. They're, oh, no. You didn't give it to us. And you go, well, I know I did. Well, it's really nice if you can say, you know what? Here, all my documents that I submitted on August the 5th. And they say I didn't give them the second year of my tax return. Here it is right here. Well, what if they then ask you for more documents? Maybe the same documents over again. Send it to them again and make a separate copy of that. So you can say, you know what? On August 10th, I sent them this stack. And you know what? 7 days later, they asked me for some more. I sent this other stack to them. Now, there's a lot of duplication, but you know that you sent this to them. This is not the time you're trying to save $150,000, $400,000, $500,000 house. This is not the time to say, you know what? I think I can get by and avoid $2 worth of copy cost at FedEx. Well, save your house. Keep copies of everything. Be very quick. Sometimes these mortgage companies will do the wrong thing. They'll lie about getting your documents. They'll make you give more documents over and over and over. That's okay. You can show that they were jerks later. You can show that they were lying later. But just be the best possible person asking for this loss mitigation. Whatever that might be. Loan modification, short sale, deed in lieu, forbearance, whatever it is. You want them to be able to say, well, you know what? That guy did everything we asked. You know, she sent every single document. Even when we ran her through the process to try to make her just give up, she kept on sending all the documents. Well, what's the fourth step? So remember, number 1, current location. Number 2, all loss mitigation. Number 3, be quick and keep copies of everything. Number 4 is you want to use what are called notice of error or request for information letters. These are letters that you send to your mortgage company. If you take your statement, usually on the back of the statement it'll have an address. It says correspondence for notice of error, request for information. Sometimes they'll say for qualified written request, use this address. You must use that address. Go to their website. Somewhere on there it should say, if you want to send a notice of error, request for information, use this website or use this address. You must use that address. You cannot send it to where you mail the payments or just general correspondence if they give you a specific address. All right, so what are these letters? A notice of error says to the mortgage company, you made an error. Here's the error you made. Now fix it. So I'll give you an example. They say, we're turning down your loan modification because you didn't give us your tax return. So, well, I know I gave them my tax return. So you write a notice of error letter. Again, you can do this on your own. You can get with a lawyer to do it. We help people all the time with this. And you say, dear mortgage company, using their specific address for a notice of error, you said on July 20th that I was turned down for a loan modification because I didn't give you my tax return. You made an error because I did give you my tax return on whatever it is, June 15th. And I'm asking you to fix this by considering and approving my loan modification request. That's what a notice of error is. Well, what's a request for information? It's almost like the flip side of it. So you send this letter saying you made an error, and then it's almost like you flip it over and you write on it, why did you say that I was turned down for a loan modification? I understand you said that I didn't give my tax return. Why did you say that? Because I did give you my tax return on whatever it was, June 15th. And so I just want to know, why did you do that? So a notice of error says you made a mistake. A request for information says, why did you do something? Or give me copies of documents. Now, you don't always start off with this and then go here. You might say, hey, why did you refuse to give me my loss mitigation options? Why? Then a separate letter will say, you made an error in refusing to give me my loss mitigation options. Okay? But usually these two will go hand in hand. So you have a request for information, you have a notice of error. If you have a notice of error, you have a request for information. And so a few rules, and we'll do a longer video getting into these in detail, but I just want to give you the flavor of them. You want to make them very focused. Every letter is focused. So don't do a whole long list of 27 errors. Do 27 letters that have one error each. And here's the basic rule. When they get this letter, they have 5 business days to acknowledge it, to write you back and say, hey, we got your notice of error, your request for information, and we're working on it. Now, if you send 27 letters, they might send you 27 individual letters saying, hey, we got your letter. If they might just send one letter and say, we received your letters, and not really identify it. It's not really proper, but that's for another subject to talk about. They might say, hey, we received your 27 letters. You want to send your letters certified mail. If you're not going to send them certified mail, you're just wasting your time, because they're going to get this, go, not certified. They're just going to throw it away. They get it. They have 5 business days to acknowledge receipt. If they don't, that violates the law. Then they have 30 business days from the time they receive your letter to give you a substantive response. So if your letter is, hey, you made an error, they have to say, yes, we did. Here's how we're fixing it. Or, no, we did not make an error. Okay? Well, if they say they didn't make an error and they really did, that's a problem for them. What if it's a request for information? So that you're asking them for information. They either have to give it to you or say, we're not giving it to you. If they don't give it to you, and I'll just tell you this, Bank of America is legendary for this. The law says what they have to give you. Bank of America, they often use this law firm. I think it's called Bank in Rome, Blank in Rome. I don't know, some law firm. It says we're responding and we don't have to give you anything that's overly burdensome, that's proprietary, confidential. They list all these things, and they basically say everything you ask for except like your mortgage and your note, maybe a payment history. They go, everything else is met by these exclusions. And so we're not giving you anything. It's almost comical how predictable Bank of America is with that. And the other companies, I'll just say, at least Bank of America will usually give you some kind of response. It's normally a bogus response. At least they give you some response. A lot of times the companies won't give you any response. Now, they give you a bogus response or no response. Oftentimes the solution is to sue them. Maybe you do another set of letters, but you may also sue them, because for every violation of the law, that can be $2,000 in statutory damages. So you send out 20 legitimate letters and they refuse to acknowledge them, refuse to respond to them. That's like 40 violations. That may be $80,000 in damages. Plus you can get other damages. You can get attorney's fees. Again, we'll cover that in more detail. I just want you to understand, if you're behind on your mortgage, then you need to look and say, has the mortgage company done anything wrong? Or are they not being clear what they're doing? Or do I just have questions? For example, you call them up, say, I need loss mitigation help. I'm 2 months behind. They say, we won't do anything with you until you're 3 months behind. Skip your next payment and then call us. Then we'll help you. Well, doesn't that seem odd that your mortgage company would say, you have to get further behind before we'll help you? And I go, I'm going to send them a request for information. Why won't you give me loss mitigation options unless I'm 3 months behind? Flip it over. You made an error not giving me loss mitigation. So, again, I hope that gives you the big picture of it. Know what your current location is. Ask for all loss mitigation. Be very quick. Take immediate action. Keep copies of what you do. Use request for information and notice of error letters. And then through this whole process, this is what you have to have throughout this entire process. Here's where you are now. Here's where you're trying to get to. You will not get there unless you have persistence. You must have persistence, because they will throw up all these roadblocks for you, all these barriers. As you're trying to get along, they put up a roadblock because they know most people will just give up. But you bust through that roadblock, and then they put up another one, because the few people that did what you did to break through it, almost all of them will just give up. You got to keep breaking through those roadblocks. I forget the name of it. There's a story I read to my kids, something about looking for a bear or something, and the kind of the thing of the story is some obstacle comes up. It's like, we'll go around it. Well, if you can't go around it, we'll go under. If you can't go under it, we'll go over. If you can't go over it, you'll go through it. The idea is, you just, whatever you need to do, you just keep on keeping on, keep on taking action until you can get loss mitigation. Now look, sometimes the end result is you need to leave your house. I remember I had somebody, they had a $1.7 million loan, and they said, what I can afford to do is, they'd had obviously great financial reversals in their life. They said, I can pay about $600 a month. I want to stay in my $1.7 million house, but which, by the way, was now worth like $800,000, but they owed $1.7 million. That isn't going to work. Okay, that math does not add up. So sometimes the answer is you need to leave. But if you leave, then again, that's part of loss mitigate. Maybe you do a short sale. Maybe you do a deed in lieu. That's where you hand them your deed instead of them doing a foreclosure. But the point is, you want to take all the action that you can so that you can figure out of all these options, all these loss mitigation options, maybe there's 5, maybe there's 7, maybe there's 10 for you. Which one is best for you? You have to have persistence to get to that point. So now, what do? You've watched this video. I think we've been going like 30 minutes or so. What do you do now? Well, figure out your current location. If you want to do this on your own, just call the mortgage company, get all loss mitigation, start filling out those packages, keep copies of everything you do. If there have been errors or unusual things that you have questions about, use those notice of error, request for information. Then number 5, be persistent. Now, you may say, I don't want to do this on my own. Well, you're always welcome. If you live in Alabama, you can give us a call. Again, my name is John Watts. It's 205-879-2447. Or you can contact us through our main consumer website, alabamaconsumer.com. And we'll be glad to sit down with you. We do a consultation and go over these options. Sometimes we do that and we say, you know what? You're absolutely on the right track. I feel very confident the mortgage company is going to take care of you. They're going to give you an appropriate loss mitigation option. Other times we say, you know what? These guys, they are just dead set on foreclosing against you. So you need to file bankruptcy. It's not really a fond option that I have, but sometimes it's what you need to do. But if these guys are breaking the law, Usually the better option is you sue them in federal court. It's amazing when you sue these guys in federal court and they know, oh wow, we're being sued under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, because almost all of them are considered debt collectors under the law. They're being sued under RESPA. You've sent all these requests for information, notice of error letters. There are also rules in RESPA about a certain number of days that have to go by before they can foreclose. They have to do certain steps as they approach foreclosure. As soon as they violate those, they get this lawsuit and they're like, oh, wow, we are facing a serious federal court lawsuit. We may owe a bunch in damages. We have to pay our lawyers, and we got to pay the consumer's lawyer under these federal statutes. That tends to motivate them to say, hey, can we talk? Can we work this out? It's like amazing. They wouldn't talk to you before, but now they're very, very eager to want to talk to you. And if they're not, that's okay. That's why the federal courthouse was built. That's why judges have the black robes. And we go to trial on those cases. So the point is, what do you do now? Well, if I can summarize it with this. Take action. Do something. And look, I understand. When everything is crashing down around you and the temptation is to just sort of be frozen and say, I'm just going to close my eyes, maybe this will go away. You know what? This is not a dream. When you open your eyes, you're just going to be further behind. If this is where you are now, this is foreclosure. Every day you're getting closer and closer and closer. And sometimes options that you have right here and here and here, when you get to this point, those options go away. So very strict time limit. Take action. If you want to do this on your own, do it on your own. Take action. If you want to get with a lawyer, call a lawyer. Again, if you're in Alabama, you can call us, 205-879-2447. We'll be glad to help you, glad to sit down with you. Go over your options. And look, we'll be very blunt with you. And we're going to tell you, if we can't help you, we can't help you. But if we can help you, normally we can help you. Now, does that mean the first time I meet with you, you're right here and I go, yes, we can absolutely file a lawsuit. Let's file a lawsuit right now. Sometimes that happens. It's not always the case. Sometimes you're here, here's foreclosure, and we say, you know what? Here, you need to do a bunch of letters. You need to call your mortgage company every single day and ask them for help. That's your action plan. But the point is, take action. Whatever it is that you can do something. And I hope that this video has given you some knowledge, kind of a framework, a big picture, an overview of what's going on when you're behind on your mortgage. And I hope that I've given you at least a little bit of motivation to say, take action now. Do something now. So I want to congratulate you for watching this video. I realize it's a long video. You got other things you can do. But I hope that you find that this has been very helpful to you, very valuable to you. And if it has, then I want to congratulate you in advance for taking even more action, because your house is important, your home is important, and I want you to understand all your options if you're behind on your mortgage. So thank you again for watching this. Congratulations for taking action. And if we can help you, 205-879-2447 or alabamaconsumer.com. Thanks a lot.